Hello everyone, and one of the biggest franchises of all time, one of the biggest franchises and most successful, and one of the biggest fan bases of all time is within of Star Trek. And before I give you my review of the 2009 film, I'm going to give you the kind of history on it. Star Trek began in the 1960s with a hit TV show coming out, made by personally made by Gene Roddenberry, and until basically last year, the Star Trek films have been going on strong. Of the original films, in particular, I haven't seen any of them. Truly, I was never a fan. I never watched any of the TV series. I never watched any of the movies either. I have heard the even numbered ones are good. The odd numbered ones are not. So, personally, for me, I was never into that. I was much more into Star Wars. So in 2009, when my dad first took me to see this film, I was very skeptical because I wasn't a Star Trek fan, and I was afraid of the approach that J.J. Abrams would have. And what happened? What became one of the most successful and one of the most surprising films of the decade. I am not joking you. This film is remarkably very, very good. Basically, the story goes like this. The future begins in J.J. Abrams' smash hit Star Trek when Robert Nero comes from the future to take revenge in the Federation rebels. Kirk and Spock work together to stop him from destroying everything they know. On a thrilling journey filled with incredible action, the new recruits of the USS Enterprise will voyage through an unspeakable danger in one of the group. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my own words. And the most critically hit movies of the year. First off, the cast. I'll start this video off on this. The cast. The cast is very, very, very good. Here's my opinion. Zoe Saldana as I forgot her character's name. Uhala, I think, and that's it. She's really, really good. Zachary Quinto as Spock is fantastic. Chris Pine as Kirk is great. Yes, Simon Pegg as one of the side characters. I forgot his name. He's really, really good. And but of all the main characters, to me the most surprising is Carl Urban, and he is as Bones, and he is shockingly really, really great in this film. Like, he really gives this real demeanor, real emphasis on his character. He's like, my God, man, what are you thinking? Really being such a sharpness and such a creative character to him. And I really, really love that. And also what I love about this film is that it takes it really goes, well, in my experience, such a bold and such a laid back feel to it. There's not like a real certain view in this film. It's not black or white or anything. It's just fun, laid back, and it has its own certain visual style to it. And of course, in my opinion, the villain played by Eric Bana, who plays Nero, the performance itself is the character itself. I'm totally very confused of it, but here's what I want to say. Basically, the performance is good, but the character isn't, because his character is all about revenge and getting revenge and getting all this from his home planet and his wife and his child who were taken from him and they were killed. By the way, that's not a spoiler. They address that within the first half an hour of the film, so that's not a spoiler. And basically, personally, he just comes across on such a one-tone level, and it's just so over the top that it's impossible to get into this character. He's not really that sympathetic. There's moments when he's going so over the top, and yes, I understand he's so blood-filled and and anger and showing revenge, but it's so difficult to get behind the character when this kind of perspective on him. So for me, the villain is, in his own sense, kind of weak. Although Star Trek does have a tendency to have villains named after historical people. Nero, Khan, what's next? Napoleon? I don't know. But also the visual style that J.J. Abrams brings to this film is unbelievably great. Yes, it's very, very obvious to make fun of it with all those lens flares off, but it's brings such a fun and cool view to the film that I really, personally, really admire. Also, the way the film goes is so really good. It feels like a trip, and you feel like you're really on the Enterprise, bouncing off with these characters like Bones, Spock, Kirk, and Uhura. Like, they are all really great. Oh yes, the visual effects, man. Oh crap, they're good. They're substantially very good. If I had to pick, in my opinion, my favorite moment in this film is that moment that shows here on the back of the DVD when they're all flying down basically on here, and they come the first moment when they jump out of the ship, it's very sound you feel like a little like that. And it really allows you to soak in the feeling and the environment of the film, and it really shows the visual style and the visual prowess and the speed of the film too, and it's done extraordinarily well in my opinion. And also the final climax to the final battle is very well deserved, and it's shot and it's edited beautifully, and the music is also good. I could be wrong. I think it's James Horner who directs this film. I don't know. Didn't direct. I think. No, get me wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If it's James Horner who did the music for this film, but not the main theme, because that's the same. Because the main theme coming back is absolutely amazing. It really feels great. Like, it's not like this is like both. This is not like. I've heard this in a certain essence of J.J. Abrams. He said this one is purely for new fans of Star Trek. Star Trek Into Darkness was purely for Star Trek fans. This is to mainly get new audiences into Star Trek, and you know what? It got me like a fish on a hook. However, and I do give them a ton of praise. I do a few of like 3-4 problems with the film. Number one, the story. While it's a good story, there's like a few bit of plot holes. I'm like, what? That doesn't add up. And putting the red supernova and black holes and type of this stuff to Star Trek film. I'm just like, There's a few plot holes where just like. When you're kind of just like, I kind of can't push that aside. I'm always addressing that plot hole that's kind of weird there. And there's a few moments that really throws you off, and there's some moments where it seems a bit too trying to appease everyone, phased for itself, and it's kind of loses confidence at some points. Like when you see the Leonard Nimoy special like cameo in the film. It's pretty cool, to be honest, but it seems like that was a bit more of a fan service moment. And I'm just like, whenever I'm just like, oh cool, they got him, but I'm just like, you gotta have a bit more emphasis on these new characters a bit more if you want them to really stick out and not have so many of the old recoming characters into the series. And the villain, like I was saying before, isn't that great. And I will say the length of the film needs to be a little bit longer. It's like an hour, it's 2 hours, basically, and I felt like it should have like another 15 or 20 minutes to it, and I'm just like, oh, come on. Have a bit more time for itself. So overall, I will give Star Trek, the 2009 film, a 85%. It has a ton of good things for itself. There's some moments where it tries to appease the fans and it can get overloaded at times. The villain is not really that great. And like a few, like in my opinion, there's a few plot holes that you can and can't forgive within the film. But overall, this is an extraordinarily great film, one of the biggest surprises of the 2000s. Like I said before, I give Star Trek at 85%. So, thank you for watching, everyone, and further on this week, I promise you I will review Star Trek Into Darkness, because, well, this is how you do a sequel. And that's all I'm going to say about this film so far. So thank you for watching, everyone, and I will see you in the next review, which will be Star Trek Into Darkness. I promise you that will be up by Tuesday. I deeply do promise you that. I will make that on Tuesday. And thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you take my words of this video into the description if you think of owning this film on DVD or not, or giving it a second chance or not, or if you've seen the film or not, if you haven't or not, because it's truly deserving of its own. What it does great, and it does some stellar things in this film. Just take my word into consideration if you think of seeing or owning or buying this movie. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, live long and prosper.